Hi guys, in today's session we're going to learn about Python and how Python and Django together are one of the leading software development tools / language out there. So as I said in one of my other sessions, I'm very excited to teach you all about Python because that's a programming language which is so widely used. You look at, so I think you must have noticed, right, in the past when I was talking about some programming languages like Android, Flutter and PHP, I was telling, big company, small company, this is used by newer companies, this is used by older companies. The speciality of Python is it's kind of universal, right? I mean, if you're a big company, if you're a small company, it doesn't really matter. Python is a programming language that you will be using regardless. You guys, whether you're big, whether you're small, whether you're large, whether you're here, whether you're there, America, India, Europe, wherever you are, Python is like a very, very common thing. Which is why the job openings of Python are some of the largest in the industry. So if you look at other kind of programming languages, the job openings are there. It's not that it's non-existent, but the job openings are not as abundant as you'd like it to be. It's not as abundant as you would expect. But for a programming language like Python, the job openings are absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it's in the lakhs and lakhs and lakhs, especially Python and Django. So why is it that Avodha has chosen not to teach students just Python, but to teach students Python with Django, right? So Python as a programming language can be used in multiple IDEs. You can use it in different kind of softwares to be able to code and build out application backend. Now, before I go any further, let me explain that Python is a backend programming language. It's kind of obvious for people who are from the industry. I forgot to mention it, but Python is a backend programming language mostly. So this is Python is kind of used for APIs, for fetching data from the backend. It's not a front-end programming language. So if if I have to give an example, the front-end programming languages would be things like CSS, HTML5, PHP. And the backend would be things like Python. So Python is used primarily for backend, and any website, even if it's a simple website, things like a very simple journalism website, which is not really complicated, we'll still kind of use Python at some point, but at least for linking with the server. So it's a very, very common programming language. It's an extremely common programming language, as I keep mentioning. Now Python and Django, right? Python can be used to code with multiple kind of IDEs. There are different kind of platforms that can be used with Python. There are so many different kind of platforms that can be used with Python. But the thing is, if we use Python and Django together, this is the most popular kind of combination out there for the software development industry. Which is why at Avodha we've chosen not to teach Python as a standalone course, and it's kind of upsell another course. I mean, we could have always just launched Django as another course and then sold both together at a higher rate. But we've chosen to launch both in one single course because Python as a programming language, in our opinion, in the opinion of our research team that looks at the job data, that looks at employment information out there, that looks at job descriptions, according to our team, Python alone, the job opportunity and the job chances of getting a job are minimal. Whereas Python with Django, your chances of getting a job are maximum. Like it's on the higher end, and that is why we've chosen to teach both of these courses together. Now Python and Django admittedly is extremely complicated. It's not very easy to learn. However, it is extremely useful. As I keep saying, job openings are there, a lot of job openings are there out there, but it is it's kind of difficult to learn. Our course offering for Python and Django is the same as other programming languages and other courses of Avodha. We have a 3-month rigorous online training session with pre-recorded classes which are available 24/7, live sessions for doubt clearance that happen in the evenings, and then we have another 3 months where you can get a paid or an unpaid internship doing a Python Django job role. At the end of which, we move you to the placement assistance funnel. Now, before I conclude, one of the benefits of learning Python and Django is that it can be useful for data science students as well. So if you have a student that has shown interest in data science, I generally don't really promote buying 2 courses that much, but in the case of Python and Django and data science, I will 100% recommend it. It's because most of our courses are actually good as standalone itself, right? I mean, if you learn stock market, if you learn accounting, it's good as standalone courses. But for Python and Django, I always kind of recommend to take data science, or if you're taking data science, I recommend you to take Python and Django as well, because it's an added advantage. In data science, if you know Python and Django, your chances of getting a job increase. Similarly, in Python and Django, if you know that if you learn data science, your chances of getting a job increases, and your chances of getting a promotion. So let's say you learn Python and Django, you get into a job. If you have already also learned data science and you have those skill sets, then your chance of getting the promotion in that job keeps becoming higher and higher. So this 2 combination is actually a very good combination. So if you have a student that has purchased one, I recommend the other course also to that student. It's generally very much useful for that particular student. So this is the logic behind Python and Django, and exactly how it is becoming very much relevant in the job market and the job industry nowadays. And this is a course that is here to stay. So in the backend, you have different kind of programming languages that are used in the backend. You have Node.js, you have a couple of other programming languages that are kind of difficult. But Python and Django is one combination that is kind of eternal. A lot of the existing mobile applications, a lot of the existing websites continue to use Python. The new applications and the new websites that are coming up also use Python and Django. So that is what makes it different from an Android or a Flutter, like I said in the last session. Android or Flutter, Android is legacy, Flutter is new. Same logic with HTML, CSS files for smaller companies, but Python and Django is there everywhere. So if you learn Python and Django, the job opportunities are much higher. It's more difficult to learn than, let's say, an Android or a Flutter or a PHP, CSS, full stack. Those courses, it's more difficult to learn, but the job opportunities are like 3 times of any one of these courses, because even if you learn Android, you need Python and Django. You need a backend to connect to the front end, right? Even if you learn Flutter, you need a backend. You need Python and Django. If you know CSS or HTML5 or that kind of a stack, you still need Python and Django to connect it. So for every opening that you have of Android, it's compulsory you must have an opening of Python and Django. For every opening you have a Flutter and a front end developer, you still need a Python and Django to connect it. So logically, and as per labor data, Python and Django is one course that has tremendous job opportunities out there. And it's something that, if you are willing to learn software development, if you have that logical aptitude, if you have that mathematical aptitude to break down problems, definitely go for Python and Django. Take data science along with it to sort of boost both things. If you have that aptitude, if you really have that aptitude, if you really have that capacity to build softwares and you're confident about that, Python and Django is the course for you. In terms of other software programming languages, Python and Django is number one. It's on the top. It's just that it's a bit more difficult than the other languages, but it's definitely on the top in terms of job creation, possible salaries, possible career growth. Python and Django would be the recommended course for you, but the only caveat is it's kind of tough. But the wonderful thing about Avodha is, even if you find Python and Django difficult, you can always switch from Python and Django to any other course that you want. So that's the wonderful thing at Avodha. If you've taken Android, you don't like it, you can switch to Python. If you've taken that, you don't like it, you can switch to mobile phone engineer. You can switch to whatever course that you want. So that's the magical thing about Avodha. So thank you guys. I'm going to conclude this session now. I think with that, our software collection is kind of wound up, and we can now move into the hardware courses. So Avodha is the first platform in India to actually launch hardware courses online. We are the first platform that is teaching things like mobile phone engineer, laptop engineer, EC mechanic. We're the first platform in India to teach all of this. And personally, it's a matter of great happiness to me that Avodha is the first platform to do this. So in the next sessions, we're going to look at hardware courses and what are the job creation there, what are the possibilities over there. Alright guys, thank you.